Are you playing Preservation Evoker in Dragonflight? Do you PvP? Do you not know what to play with? Well, this video is for you. We're going to go over my prediction for the top 2v2 comps for Preservation Evoker, because that is a big question that no one really has the answer. I don't really have the answer as well. I'm just going to give you guys my best predictions on what will be good coming into Dragonflight. All right, so first up here, we're gonna have a DK. Okay, DK does very good damage, and honestly, I think Frost DK is gonna work very well, specifically being able to AoE grip in mob both teammates, pop a Dragon's Breath or a Deep Breath into the Fire Breath, into the AoE Living Flame. It's gonna be some insane bursts when paired with an Evoker. So I think for that reason, I want to put both DKs actually at an A tier, because I think they're both pretty good, and DK in general is actually pretty good itself. Yeah, no other comments on that. DH, I don't think anyone has to say anything. S tier, doesn't matter what teammate DH has, it's an S tier comp. Let's pray and hope that this gets nerfed, but unfortunately it has not been changed as of right now. So it is what it is. S tier comp, high damage, high sustain, high survivability, good self-healing. You're able to play extremely aggressive with a DH on your team because they do so much damage and they don't take much damage. So perfect opportunity to play an Evoker with. Boomy in twos is not good. And on top of that, the only time Boomy can potentially be good with another healer, is if they have a DR that does not line up. But unfortunately, Sleepwalk and Clone do DR one another, so that is definitely going to be a very bad comp. Moving on. Feral Druid. I think Feral Druid is going to be okay. I'm going to put Feral Druid in A tier. Feral Druid does have a very high amount of damage. It still has its, its stuns, its MS, all that kind of stuff going on, so I think it's still going to be very good. And you'll probably play it similar to how you would play Disc Priest Feral or Holy Priest Feral, where like you will, he'll go for the maim, you'll hover in and get a Sleepwalk off. It's not as effective as the Holy Priest setup, but having higher throughput, having potentially really high damage to set up in those stuns, I think it's going to pair very well. I'll keep it at the same level as those. Devastation, aka Sneeze Cleave, as I like to call it. Double Evoker, just fire breathing everybody. I feel like it's probably a bad comp. You might get some cheesy one shots, but you have no setup. Evoker itself does not have a consistent stun. I think you can get a lot of wins, especially at lower rating and early on when people don't really know what's going on, by just like if someone landslides, you both Deep Breath and then you both instant Fire Breath and just one shot the entire team. It can do a lot of damage. So for that reason, I'm not gonna put it at the bottom, but when it comes to like a synergistic comp, I don't think it's very good. BM Hunter, I'm gonna put it in A tier as well. I think every hunter is gonna be pretty damn good, actually. You know what? I'm gonna BM it specifically at B tier. I have yeah, let's keep it at B tier. So we're gonna put it at BM Hunter B tier. BM Hunter is okay right now. Its damage is pretty good. It has trap. I feel like you can't go wrong with that kind of stuff. The only problem is, does it do well into the meta DPS? Not that great. There's a lot of DKs, DHs, and Warlocks, which kind of all kick BM Hunters' butts in terms of like being able to kill their pets all the time. So I think for that reason, it's going to be okay. It won't be bad by any means. I think whenever you have trap and sleepwalk, or any sort of like poly DR and trap DR, or poly DR and fear DR, you're going to have a pretty decent comp. So I'm going to put a BM Hunter at B for there. I think low-key Survival Hunter is going to be an S tier comp for them. Survival Hunter is very overlooked right now when it comes to beta gameplay. It's very underplayed. Not a lot of people play Hunter in general. And secondly, I think it doesn't really get its fair share of like review or whatever. It's not fair in a lot of these tier lists, because a lot of the gameplay on the beta, all of the gameplay on the beta, is essentially just 3v3 solo queue, which Survival Hunter is okay and not very good. But in 2v2, the damage seems very high, and then having this, the same sort of control that they used to have. They also have scatter shot. They have a lot. I did play a few games of Preservation Survival on retail pre-patch. And it was saucing, man. Every trap was painful for the other team. We would get, he would go for his trap, his stun the DPS, trap the healer. I would charge up a fire breath into a living flame, and then walk over deep, sleepwalk the healer. And we were able to get a ton of pressure off. And on top of the, in between the goes, we can kite. I can help them kite with slows and roots. I can rescue them away. Also with swoop up, if you run that, for example, on like Blade's Edge, you could trap the healer on the top of the bridge. You could take them and put them on the bottom of the bridge in the trap. And so when they come out of the CC, now they're all the way on the bottom too. On top of that, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do on combining a hunter and a Evoker. And for that reason, I think it's really going to be a good, really good comp. Marksman Hunter, we're going to go with B tier as well. I feel like I don't feel comfortable giving this anything lower because of the trap, sleepwalk synergy, having those different DRs. I think regardless, it's going to be pretty good. Marksman Hunter is just across the board. Otherwise, damage has the burst damage. It's just okay, middle of the pack class, and without having like, high consistent damage or a lot of stun setups or an MS, is going to be a little bit rougher. Arcane Mage, I'm going to put Arcane Mage as an A tier comp as well. So A tier, Arcane Mage Evoker will be pretty good because of the DRs. Again, Poly DR and Sleepwalk DR don't DR itself. But the problem is you don't have stuns. And not having stuns for a Arcane Mage is not the best. But on the other hand, I played a lot of Disc Arcane and it actually wasn't bad at all. As long as you could put out the damage with the Mage and get all those sleepwalks off out of the polys, I think it'll be okay. I don't think it's as good as Survival Hunter. I think Survival Hunter is literally just a better version of that comp because of the MS, high consistent damage, and stuns. But I think it's going to be pretty good. I'd probably put it above Pharaoh. I don't know about the DKs or not. I'm going to put it for the DKs, honestly. Just my personal preference. Fire Mage Evoker, probably not going to be very good. I'm going to put it at a B tier though, just again because of the poly DR. Fire Mage Healer is typically not very good. I don't know, maybe something might happen with Fire Mage, but I'm putting it a C tier. I'm going to put it a C tier. Because Fire Mage is not that good in itself. On top of not having good synergy with the healer in general, because it's very relies around combustion. If they somehow change the spec, I can see things going differently, but I think currently it's going to be there. I'm going to put Frost Mage at B tier here as well, or as B tier. We'll probably put it below these two. Frost Mage could be okay because of that reason of the poly DR, but the damage just isn't there. Arcane does way better damage, way better survivability, and just it's more consistent in that regard, being able to live, kite, all that kind of stuff that's really useful in twos. My apologies. Tired. Moving on. We got Windwalker. I think Windwalker will be okay as well. I'm going to put Windwalker in the A tier as well. Windwalker might be okay simply because of the fact of rescue and sleepwalk and swoop up. Having the DR that does, again, not a matching up DR, you can paralysis into sleepwalk, and then he could leg sweep the DPS. You could even swoop up the DPS around a corner, and then when a Windwalker needs to help escaping, you can rescue them out and reset and just constantly reset over and over. I think it's going to be fairly good. Again, no DR overlaps, so probably going to be pretty good. And then as long as Windwalker itself stays high damage, like if it's able to actually kill things and goes, it'll stay relevant. Currently, it's like hit or miss. Sometimes I've seen some Windwalkers be able to do the big dam, and some that don't do anything. And unfortunately, Windwalkers are not very good into other Evokers, which is probably going to be a pretty prevalent healer. So for that reason, we're going to go with the A tier. Retribution Paladin, I'm going to put Ret at a... I think it's better than these. I'm gonna put it at a high C tier here. Ret Healer notoriously has not been the greatest comp. This is gonna kind of go in the same boat as how I would, the same opinion I had when I'm playing with Wrestle Druid. I think if you played in a way that it was like very high CC, when it's like Hodge, it's Hodge into rep, Repentance into Sleepwalk, into swap the rep, or swap the sleepwalk, or something like that, you might see some good results with it. But dude, healing Rets is just not fun, man. Right now they definitely die. They can do good burst, but it's about it right now. And they seem to pair much better with like a DPS, like a warrior, DH, DK, feral, shadow priest, something else that has like hybridness to it, or a lot of self-sustain, because you're able to put out a lot of the pressure with that. Shadow Priest. I am going to put Shadow Priest on the A tier as well. Okay, so Shadow Priest was a surprise to me, I'm not gonna lie. I think the big reason is their damage is really high. I don't know how this is gonna, I haven't played twos with this. This is based off pre-patch. Pre-patch, when I played with Shadow Priest, it's actually gone very well. I hit my first 2100 playing that, and it was better than some of the other comps that I played, honestly. But I don't know if that's because of the, you know, the borrowed power from Shadowlands or not. But having Rescue and, you know, Sleepwalk to, you know, go Sleepwalk a target at the same time they stun silence a target, it's felt really good, honestly. And it's, you know, Shadow Priests have a lot of utility as well. It seems like it would be useful in a way of playing Evoker when you're playing Evoker offensively, like I might like to do. So I think for that reason it'll be pretty good because you can do a lot of really strong setups into healers. Asa Rogue, we are going to add that to the A tier as well. I think Asa Rogue is going to be pretty good as well. Asa Rogue is generally always a pretty good 2 spec, especially with the healer, because of the really high damage, really high sustained damage, and an MS and a lot of stuns. Again, once you can combine like that, the wall and the swoop up and the rescue, combining all these things will help out a lot with doing really strong setups. And, you know, and the rescue can help them reset and, you know, do it all over again. And you have a DR that doesn't overlap. You have Sleepwalk, which, you know, you can go off of kidney shots and stuff like that. Outlaw Rogue. I'm gonna put Outlaw Rogue at a B tier. I think it's okay. I'll probably put it in between these guys here. I don't know how Outlaw, actually no, I'm putting it lower than that. I don't know how Outlaw got after the recent buffs. I haven't really seen too much, but my few experiences playing with Outlaw is the damage. Their damage sucks. They have really like a ton of control and stuff like that, but the damage just wasn't it. And if they don't have the damage, they ain't gonna work too well with Evoker because you need damage from the DPS for sure. Sub Rogue gonna go in the same boat for the same reasons. You know, you have a lot of setup. I don't know how well if you're gonna be able to finish off a lot of kills, but I would still put it above like some of these other classes because you have the opportunity to get consistent stuns that set up for sleepwalks and the big damage goes. For that reason, I think it might be okay. Ellie Shaman. I think Ellie Shaman's gonna be better than Frost Mage, but I don't know if it's gonna be much better than these other guys. I think honestly, Ellie might be better than like even, well, Marksman has stun now, right? So we're gonna put it here. Ellie Shaman damage can be really high. Downfall is gonna be what you're facing. You're gonna be facing a ton of, you know, probably DHs, DKs, hunters, warriors potentially, a lot of things that can kind of really run down. Asa Rogues can run down Ellie Shamans and kick their butt. And I think if you're able to put out enough of the damage and kite well enough as the Ellie Shaman, you can probably make the comp work, because you do have, and then you also want to be active on the hexes because you have hex and sleepwalk, don't DR. Again, same boat as some of these other healers or other DPS. So I think it'll be okay. Nothing special though. Enhanced Shaman, definitely gonna go down in the C tier. It's just enhanced, just ain't it in twos, man, with a healer. Don't have an MS, don't have a ton of mobility. You kind of just get kited or you get run down. It just doesn't feel like it. I think enhanced, you're just always better off playing with a DPS like a mage or not mage, a warrior or a DK or a ret or DH, something in that regard. Not much to say on that. Afflock, I think Afflock will probably be I don't want to. I feel like arguably this is not going to be I feel like it's a high A, honestly, because you just don't have the stuns. I think we'll see how the damage goes out. It could be borderline S tier. Like this is definitely arguable in the S tier, but you just don't have stuns for them, which is like always been a crucial thing about what works and what doesn't work with Affliction Lock. Because like I used to play a ton of like Disc Aff, and that did a lot of damage in Shadowlands. But if you didn't have the stuns, you just get run down, you get kicked. You know, healers have kicks now, so it's just very disruptive for them. The damage is so high that it might be irrelevant, but I think I'm gonna keep it on the A tier for now. Demonology, no brainer S tier. I think it's better than even DH. Because Demonology is just going under the radar right now in PvP because everyone's been like, you know, complaining about Afflock. Demonology is arguably better in my opinion. I think it's better. The damage is very close. And the damage is unstoppable because it's NPCs, pets attacking you. They have an MS, they have multiple CCs, stuns specifically, which that's why I think it's really good with the Evoker as well. I think if you set up a lot of these stuns into Fire Breath, into just living long, and they're very tanky inherently, perfect partner, I think, for Evoker. So I'm gonna go in an S tier on that one. Destro Warlock, I'm gonna put Destro Warlock at a probably a B tier as well, probably between these two here. Honestly, I'm just gonna put it at the bottom because Destro, again, no stuns for them. Same with kind of the same boat as Affliction Lock, but it's just not as good as Affliction Lock. So not having the stuns to set up, I don't think that's gonna go too well. I think Destro is gonna be better off playing with like a Rusted Druid or a Holy Priest or something like that. Arms Warrior is okay. I'm gonna put it at a B tier. I'm gonna put it at a high C tier. If Arms Warrior gets buffed, this shoots up real quick. I think synergistically it's very good, but again, does it match up to a lot of these other classes? I don't even think so, man, because the damage just doesn't feel like it. I'm gonna put it on the B tier. I'm gonna put it bottom B tier. I think it's better than these guys, because with Rescue, Swoop, Time Spiral to give them extra leaps, having a consistent MS, all can be really solid for them. They just damage just isn't there right now. If they get buffed, this easily can pop up to an A tier or higher. But for that reason, I'm gonna put it there. Fury Warrior, I'm gonna put it higher. I think it's kind of the same thing, but the difference between these two, one does more damage than the other. But again, the synergies are there. Just gotta, if they had a little more damage, I think it would be definitely an easy swoop up to the top. No pun intended. Pun intended. Okay, so that's actually all of our DPS there. So this is my predictions for the 2v2 bracket for Evoker. If you guys are looking for a comp to play, again, my opinion, feel free to disagree. This is just kind of based on what I've played, may or may not come true. So if you guys do have any questions, do you have any suggestions yourself, definitely leave a comment down below and we can discuss it further. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks so much for watching the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.